To an NBC News investigation now into some key evidence from a serial killer case that haunted the Pacific Northwest for nearly 2 decades. People knew this guy as the Green River Killer. From the early 80s to the 90s, dozens of women disappeared, only to be found dead. The killer's identity was a mystery until 2001, when officials announced they arrested Gary Ridgway, crediting a break in the case to new advances in techniques to identify DNA. NBC News' digital team dug through interviews, thousands of pages of documents, and in a stunning discovery, found evidence left on some of the early victims was never analyzed. Our Tom Winter has the story.
Patricia Yellowrobe was the last of 49 women to be killed by one of America's most notorious serial killers. Now, an NBC investigation asks whether she'd be alive today if not for potentially missed clues found a decade earlier. It all started in 1982.
For a long time, people in the Seattle area and elsewhere in the Pacific Northwest have had a string of unsolved murders on their minds. They're called the Green River murders.
The victims, many on the run from home, some sex workers, found one after the other.
37 women have died, 9 missing, all thought to be victims of the same killer.
It was the work of Gary Ridgway, arrested in 2001, pleading guilty, connected to some of his victims not just with DNA, but with microscopic paint. Former FBI investigator Steve Kramer studied the case.
There's some reporting that we have that suggests that there was some evidence that perhaps at some point was not accurately analyzed or not analyzed at all, that perhaps could have solved that serial killer sooner. How important was that paint analysis just based on your background of the case?
The paint in that particular case, the investigator, who's a scientist, was tasked with analyzing the paint. They looked at, really, really small particles, like down to the micron level, like 10 microns. He theorized if he's painting trucks, he worked at a Kenworth facility, we're painting, the commercial, 18-wheeler trucks, and figuring that this paint was floating in the air, it would be on his clothes, and then it would maybe transfer to the victims.
Tom Jensen was one of the case's first investigators.
Well, I began with the Green River Task Force investigation in 1984.
What did you think when you were contacted by NBC, somebody saying that it was possible that the type of analysis that was done here, this paint analysis, could have been done back in the mid-1980s?
I thought it was bullshit to start with. How do I put this?
Jensen says it might have changed the course of the case.
We had a very strong circumstantial case against Gary Ridgway in 1987. What we didn't have was any physical evidence to substantiate the circumstances that we had. Now, had this technology been available to us in 1987, I'm quite certain that based on that paint smear evidence and the circumstantial evidence that we had, I'm certain that we would have had an argument for taking this case to a prosecutor for charges.
According to court records, Ridgway abruptly stopped his killing spree in 1990, but began again in 1998 with Yellowrobe. When her sister Luana was asked if the new revelations make her angry, she tells NBC News, "It's too bad they didn't do what they should have done, but being angry now won't bring my sister back."
Ridgway is serving several life sentences for his crimes. In an email to NBC News, the Washington State Patrol Crime Lab says that given the amount of time that's passed since the investigation began, they don't want to speculate on the strategies and tactics used by their forensic investigators so long ago. Hallie.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.